Welcome to my kitchen. My name is Andrea, and today I'm going to show you how to make Snickerdoodle cookies. This is a staple cookie in my Christmas repertoire. So everyone gets Snickerdoodle cookies in their goodie bags every year. So easy recipe. So again, if you are not an experienced baker, this is a cookie that you can make super easy. All right. So first things first, I have preheated my oven to 400 degrees. So first things, I've got one half plus 2 tablespoons of sugar in the bowl here. And then I'm going to add 1/2 cup of shortening. Just going to add that in. Try to get all of it in there. And then I'm going to cream these two together. You can use a hand mixer, you can use a stand mixer, or do it by hand, just however you feel most comfortable. And if you don't have those, then you can just work it by hand. So we're just going to work this in here. Just going to take just a little bit to get that sugar mixed in with that shortening. All right, so we've got that mixed together, and then we're going to add 1 egg to this. There we go. Just mix it up here. There you go. So you just want the egg kind of mixed in there to where you really can't see chunks of the shortening anymore. So that's about it. All right. So now we're going to, in a separate bowl, we're going to sift, and I forgot to get my sifter out. We are going to sift together our flour. So we have 1 1/3 cup of flour, all-purpose flour. And then to that, we are going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And then we are also going to add a teaspoon of cream of tartar. All right. And then we're just going to sift this into our bowl. This just ensures that you don't have any lumps in your flour, and then it also just kind of mixes it up a little bit too. So, all right, there we go. Now we are going to add this to our wet mixture. If you just add half of it, then you can kind of work it in a little bit. That way you don't splatter flour all over the place. All right. And for the second half, all right. And we're just about there. All right, there we go. So for this, we're going to put it in the refrigerator and chill it for about a half an hour. This dough is not super sticky, but you want it to be nice and firm so that you can scoop it into little balls. So I'm just going to cover that with some plastic wrap and chill it for about 30 minutes. Well, I have left the dough in the fridge a little less than 30 minutes, about 20 minutes. This is a small batch, so it didn't need quite as long. So you can kind of see it's kind of firmed up. So a little slightly on the dry, that's what you want. So now we are going to mix our sugar and cinnamon mixture. So I've got a 1/4 cup of sugar, just regular granulated sugar. And then we're going to do a tablespoon of cinnamon, ground cinnamon. Just mix that in there. Just mix it up. Now this recipe is going to make a small batch. You can easily double it and make a larger batch of cookies. I actually split it because I don't need to make a lot of cookies, so not today anyway. All right, it's not a big deal. I like the scoops just because every cookie is the same size. I can really control the amount that I get by using the scoop. So just scoop it up like that, and then like so, and then I'm just going to go ahead and roll it. And then I'm going to roll it in the sugar and cinnamon mixture, just like that. And then I'm going to place it on an ungreased baking sheet. So you don't need to grease it and you don't need parchment paper. So just place it on there. Because remember, we put quite a bit of shortening in these, so there's going to be quite a bit of oil in them. So they're not going to stick. They'll be just fine. So let's get this one. I usually like to scoop several at a time. Just makes it go a little faster. Because when I'm making cookies at Christmas time, I do what I call marathon baking. And basically, I have about 2 days that I do the bulk of my baking. So it's just, you know, knock out a batch of Snickerdoodles, and then as soon as they're done, I'm working on the next batch of whatever cookie I'm making. So just one right after the other. So we're just going to mix those in there. And you can get about 4. These will spread some, not a ton, but give them a little space. So you can get about 4 across if you're using a half sheet tray. So it really just depends on what you're using. Now, if you're using a darker baking sheet, these are going to bake a little faster, so they may get a little crispier on the bottom. But using a light colored one, they'll turn out perfect. Right, I think we're going to have just enough for this tray and just slightly more. So I'll put a few on the next one, and we'll get these in the oven. So the oven has been preheated to 400 degrees, and we're going to bake these for 10 to 12 minutes. They're going to be really soft when you check them, but that's okay. As they start to cool down, they're going to kind of firm up a little bit. So, and for this one, I'm just going to lightly smash them down. See this? Just give them just a slight little smash. You don't want to use a glass like, you know, peanut butter cookie where you smash it completely. So just kind of give them a firm little press, and then that one is ready to go in the oven. Okay, so I'm going to put these in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes, and when I come back, they should be done. Let's just see what they look like. These cookies out of the oven, they've been sitting here for a couple of minutes just to kind of cool slightly. They did take the full 12 minutes. If you were making the smaller size, you would probably only need 10 minutes. If you're making bigger cookies than this, then you're going to need to adjust your bake time to account for the size, because they're going to be thicker. So just be aware of that when you're making them. But these cookies are done, so you can kind of see how they're all a little different. So kind of cracked on the top, that's what they're supposed to do. So some of them a little more than others, but that's how they're supposed to look. So we're just going to plate those. Let's just put a few on there. And there you go. Snickerdoodle cookies. Great for any time of year, but especially for the fall. So if you're going into Thanksgiving, Christmas, these are a wonderful, wonderful treat to have. And your house smells like cinnamon. All right. Well, if you like this recipe, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Click the notification bell so you'll know when I'm posting a video. Like, share, and all that goodness. We'll see you back here again next week.